So I moved actually to Texas, where I started working with clean tech and renewable energy businesses and sustainability. And so I kind of got that bug as well, in terms of types of businesses, and as well as how businesses should be acting. And so I'm sort of culminating all of that and bringing it here to Westborough. I think your town is lovely. I think it's got a lot to offer both businesses and citizens. And I'm really excited to get started. I do have a little bit of a presentation that you're not going to be able to see, but that I'll get into some of the things that I hope to work with you all on. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And we do need to do an approval of last month's minutes, and those minutes were distributed. Does anyone have any comments, suggestions, corrections to the minutes from last month? I don't hear any comments.
No.
All right.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
Seconded.
We have to do roll call?
Not
No.
if we don't have anybody online.
Yeah,
Okay.
nobody's online.
Perfect. Then all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any Holly's abstaining due to not being here last time. Any negatives? No's? Awesome. So motions to approve the minutes has been approved from last month. Great. Okay. I'm still getting my feet wet here too, guys, so sorry about that. Went out of order. All right, so we want to continue the discussion that we were having last month on the year in review event. So we talked a little bit about the decision of the awards that we wanted to give for that event, also tossing on the speaker ideas and venues. So would love to continue that discussion, and we do have a small subcommittee. So do you want to talk a little bit about that, Holly?
We're gonna, I guess, set up a time to meet.
I'd like to do that.
Yeah, today
Okay.
we can set up a time.
Yep.
And we'll kind of go around, we'll go over what we did the last few years in terms of like what our budget will be, what we'll need to do, securing a date, and then I know you had talked about a potential speaker, so
Yeah.
we'll have to get all that nailed down.
So do we, I know we talked about the events, venues, and Doubletree was going to be quite expensive. So did you have any headway with them, Karen?
I didn't contact them because I didn't know if we're going to go in that direction, we'd have to contact them sooner than later.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have to make a decision. I know that Laura and I talked about that too, because what month are we having it? And then
Yeah.
figure out a date. So as the subcommittee meets, I think we should talk. Do we going to come back and make a final decision as a committee, or do you want to talk about that now?
Yeah.
Any ideas?
Well, I think, I think, can we just find out how flexible they might be? Well, how big of a window would you need to find out how flexible they might be in terms of cost?
So I'm happy to work with them about no rent, no fee for the room. And then we have to negotiate a breakfast price. But more importantly is, for them, it depends upon their month, because certain months are busier than others.
Yeah. It's going to depend on the speaker availability too.
And,
So, yeah, no.
We're hearing that there's no audio going on. Christy's texting that there's no audio, and she's wondering if we can see that she's on.
No.
Says when the meeting starts, we'll let the people know we were waiting, so no one has let me into the room.
oh,
Oh,
Who's supposed to let you in?
I'm on it. Let me see if I can.
I'm on it.
Oh,
who's trying to get on?
Christy.
Oh, sorry.
It shows she's on.
But no audio?
I don't see
She
West,
may be in, but
Are you,
I don't see Westborough TV on.
right, so do we have the right link?
I copied it from the agenda. Someone could send me the link, I'll go from an email link.
I didn't change the agenda link.
Okay. No, I'll pull up the link and,
I can send it in.
I have it up, it's fine. I have what's on the calendar.
The town's struggling a little bit with this room right now, obviously with the overhead.
Yeah.
They're
Is there a reason we
waiting.
didn't do Zoom today? Is there a reason we did Teams instead of Zoom?
Yeah, because the town's gone predominantly to that, we changed it last month.
Gotcha.
I don't think that's the issue per se.
No, I was just curious.
No,
Right.
we got away from Zoom.
Yeah.
Right, but in terms of,
Yeah.
like Laura just saying about her overhead, they're working on trying to fix the projector.
Says, I see I don't know if it's me or what, I see unknown user.
Well, maybe let him in, maybe Aiden's coming in as an unknown user.
Yeah, he just joined. So put your volume down.
Mine's,
So can you get on, I'll ask her if she can get on now.
I know, right?
Should be good now. If you're hearing me, then you're hearing me.
Yes, so Aiden's in,
Okay.
but the question is, can Christine out hear us?
We're just asking her now.
Did you get your volume down?
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah,
just turn my volume.
everybody.
I mean, my volume, everything is muted
Yes.
on my end.
Okay, she can hear us now, so the audience can
And-
hear us. They
Okay.
just
And
can't see
Jenny.
us.
Okay.
Welcome, Christy.
Okay. Hey, Christy. All righty. So speaker-wise, do we want to toss around some ideas for speakers? Because that's really going to drive the date, right?
Yes.
So,
Oftentimes, well, so let's back up a little bit. It's important that you kind of get a time frame. So if you're looking for March, April, you can throw that out to the speaker, but then the actual date should be nailed down according to the speakers, which is not an easy thing to do. That's always our struggle
Right.
every year.
right. So I think,
So my experience when you go out, it depends if we're going someone from the government officials, and then there's dates they'll say maybe and still not even
Right.
fully commit. So that's a hard part about that. I mean,
Correct.
when you had Secretary Yvonne Howe, she was amazing.
Yep.
Okay. Obviously, we had the former lieutenant governor many times. Is the current lieutenant governor, I don't think has ever come to speak.
She hasn't been asked.
Yeah. So, yes, we can ask, and we
Right.
get a maybe. So that's the hard part about that. Just have a plan B in place, that's all. I think we just go saying, if we get a maybe, we go with that, and then, then plan it. So it now depends upon who we want to ask. And let's throw out a date to her. So the other decision is, do we want to go with the DoubleTree, or we're going to go with the Great Hall? So,
So
Yeah.
if I could, Cindy, one of the advantages to going with the Great Hall is that we kind of have control over whether or not we could get the room. So, in other words, with the DoubleTree, once we're locked into a room, we probably are locked into a date. I mean, maybe they could have some flexibility, but here, it's like, great, she can make it on that Friday, or we're talking Lieutenant
Yeah.
Governor, whoever, but if it's another day, we just control that, that's all.
and the last time we did the Great Hall, it was very, I think we need to figure out like what that looks like, right? So, because it was just Dunkin' Donuts and muffins, and it, was like, we really want to celebrate our businesses. So if we do decide to do the Great Hall, then the subcommittee, what does it look like? How do we kind of elevate the event from what it was the last time that it was there? I don't know about you guys, your feelings about, you weren't here last time, were you? No?
Oh, wait, I was there last.
Okay.
Not at the Great Hall.
Not the Great Hall.
Not the Great Hall,
2 years
but
ago,
yeah.
yeah.
There's advantages to both places. The times that we've had it at the DoubleTree, it's been, I think you're right, more elegant, a little more pulled together, makes us look good as a town and as a committee, mostly as a town. But the nice thing about having it at the Great Hall is that it's right here, and I don't know, kind of celebrated this great new building that they just renovated not too long ago. And I think the problem with that was just the number of people. We had to make sure we kept our numbers at a certain level, and started to get a little bit. I mean, we could talk about maybe bringing some kind of catering in to the Great Hall, something that makes it a little bit, elevates it a little bit. I don't know.
So the advantages of the DoubleTree Hotel, and obviously, I don't remember, what year was 2020? Okay, so from past history of your EDC breakfast at the DoubleTree Hotel, they were wow moments. I'm not gonna say they weren't. And I'm not gonna say the ones at your Great Hall are amazing. They have been amazing events. What I saw was a packed room, 200 people in the room. all of us celebrating local business. And I think that's the big difference. Do you have any idea how many you get at the Great Hall? I just don't know.
What's our max there?
Yeah, it's less than that. It's, now we're looking at about 100-ish,
Yeah.
give or
Yeah.
take.
Yeah.
Bobby, you can physically get more people in there than that. It's just the comfort level gets to be with the seating and whatnot.
I think though, because we're, go ahead.
Sorry, and Christy.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
I just wanted to mention that one of the reasons that the Great Hall works for us, and I'm not, we can sort of go either way, but I think it's really important that the committee understands that if we go to the DoubleTree or some other venue like that, the committee has to do a lot more work in terms of seeking sponsorship, because town staff can't do that. And obviously going to a building or a venue is significantly more expensive than the Great Hall.
I think for this year, we might want to think about doing the Great Hall, given the timing that we have and kind of how we're not completely sure about speakers and things like that. I think it would probably behoove us to say, yes, we want to do the Great Hall. We'll make that as nice of an event as we can. And think about for next year, what we're going to do and look at the speaker earlier and try to nail down a speaker earlier. Because right now, I feel like we'll be really up against the wall if we try to commit ourselves to sponsorships and getting the speaker and getting the date, et cetera. But that's my own opinion, so I will leave it to the committee to.
I thought the Great Hall I thought that it went very well, aside from, we can definitely, go a little bit higher than Dunkin' Donuts, but I thought it was a nice venue.
Yeah, one thing about the hall, I think putting the food in that corner there was like a log jam
we
right
can-
there. I don't know if there's enough room on the outside to maybe
be.
line up even some local vendors that can showcase their products or something like that. Might be, I don't know.
That might be tight. I like the idea.
Yeah, I can't envision. I know there's like
It's gonna be
a
tight.
grouping area out there, but I think the hallways are rather narrow, so.
Yeah.
But that's a thought.
I don't, for my opinion, it's not about the food. The event is a special celebration. It's not like, you can't elevate it with a catered event if you have no place to put your food and stuff like that. I don't have a problem having muffin and coffee and going to celebrate business. I think
Right.
it's well done that way, so I'm fine with the Great Hall. And I think you're right, we should just go and get the speaker. We can look at the room as a committee
I
and
think
decide
that's the
what we can
sticking
do.
point,
Yeah.
is a speaker.
Yep.
Karen?
Yeah, I mean, I think we could pull it off in the Great Hall for this year and kind of consider what we do going forward. And I think timing-wise, again, if we look timing-wise for Westborough TV, a little bit longer lead time is better for us in terms of finding out who those recipients are and making their videos. I think it's doable if we were going to go March, April with going to the DoubleTree. I think we could, but I think especially given Laura's, just getting started, and so we're a little bit behind to start with. I think maybe we're doing ourselves a favor by sticking with the Great Hall and eliminating some of, what Christy just mentioned too, in terms of running the show. So I guess I would lean in that direction.
Okay. Sean?
I think we need to focus on the speaker first.
Yep.
Like the speaker drives the venue and whether or not the speaker's available. And so we're sort of, putting the cart before the horse a little bit here. And I don't know exactly who we're thinking about for speakers, but if for some reason we get lucky and somebody gives us a yes, and we have a date and we have all that, then we can decide on the venue. And if it's a big enough guest, then the DoubleTree may make sense, if that guest is going to drive the crowd.
Yeah, it's a good point.
That's a good point, too. Yeah.
Yeah. So not to derail the conversation, I just want to say this real quick. Is there any facility in the Amazon buildings that would lend itself to this? And I say that because they, obviously have major resources and they're a major name. It might help us draw a better name to say you're going to be speaking at Amazon headquarters or something like that. Just a thought. I did do the tour of the robotics facility. I know Fred's been in there many times. There was a lunch hall. I don't know if there was a presentation hall. But just a thought. It's kind of a way to showcase like how significant of players we have here.
So let's move the conversation to speakers. Because that makes a lot of sense, you know, because if we do have a big name speaker, then sponsors may, you know, we might be able to get some decent sponsors for the event too. Transportation, I think, is just, you know, a big deal, so.
I agree. The whole, you know, from my perspective, when we do like little updates on what's going on construction and so forth, it's goes off the charts. I mean, it affects everybody. I think you're right about that.
Well, the other thing that we have to think about with the Great Hall is the parking is not great. It's a great hall. It's not great parking. You know, if you're going to talk 100 people or 120 people, there's just not a lot of parking downtown for that many people. So that becomes a little bit of a challenge too.
Sean is correct that whoever the guest speaker is could drive attendance. I would agree with that 100%. When the governor came, when we had the governor a few years ago, the only place it was going to be is the DoubleTree. That was it. There was no other place to have it. Depends upon the speaker. And secondly, it depends upon the award recipients too, because that drives attendance for my events too, who the award recipients are and who the speaker is, so.
Is there any likelihood that some of our friendly state reps or other legislators would be able to get us a foot in the door with somebody that we might not know about?
Yes. I always go to Hannah Kane when I want certain people.
Do we
she's
want
been
to try to
very
get the
helpful.
lieutenant governor? I mean, do we want to see if she's available? I mean.
There's
I
a
think
lot
that
of
would be
issues to talk about. I don't disagree about transportation, and housing is the hot topic. When 495 Partnership did the employment survey and what was the top worries, it's still workforce development. So these are all things that drive economic development. But so for employers, it's about labor. For our region, it's about housing and transportation. So they're all good topics.
Look at like Ed Augustus, who's out of Worcester, right?
Yep.
On his way into work.
Yeah, I would like to start with lieutenant governor, I think. I mean, if they,
Yeah.
just having a showcase out here out west instead of just being in Boston and, that, can we talk to Hannah? Would she know her? All right, so committee-wise, do you,
Yeah, we'll meet.
the three of you
Yep.
guys, four of you guys?
Who's the board?
Just a point of clarification.
And
for me.
also, yes.
Yes,
Who's on the subcommittee?
Dave, Karen, and I.
Just the three of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Recipient awards, what do we want to do for, you know, we've gone back and forth on the listing of awards, whether it's going to be community, you know, whether we're going to put it out to the community, have a big community vote.
So Lara sent out the awards from basically from the beginning each year. You can see from the list that they've oscillated virtually every year. There's no real right or wrong answer to that.
And do we want to have it be a vote?
No, I think Karen brought up a good point last time that's not every award lends itself to a
Right.
public vote. So I totally agree with that.
I agree with that, and I'm sorry because I wasn't here and I read the minutes and know what you talked about, but I think it was discussed that we wanted to keep the categories flexible, is that right?
No,
Okay,
it's up to the
good.
committee which categories you think are
Yeah,
what we should vote on.
Right.
There is no consistency.
okay, right, and I'd
So
like
it's-
there to be consistency as much as there can be, like from, moving forward.
So is there's quite a few names on here, so do we give about 8 to 12 or less, or what?
No,
It's usually been like 6 to 8.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because we have to remember Westborough TV is going to be doing the production.
Yes, they do an
and-
amazing job. Yes.
12 videos?
Yeah, you want to do 12? Yeah.
That would be a lot.
So do you select awards sometimes just based on what's happened in the last year and who we should highlight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's,
We
Yeah.
do.
I hate to say it, there's no rhyme or reason to how we do it. I think the public voting has been great. That's about, the last 2 or 3 years, we've added that to the Hall of Fame or Civic. Those have been, I think, well-received.
Yeah.
I think
It's a
that-
good way to spread it out in
Right.
front of a broader audience, absolutely.
And to let people know that, the committee's here, it's the work that we're doing. So it does help, I think, definitely.
Yeah, I would be consistent with some of those, at least 2 or 3 of the public voting ones,
Yeah,
whatever you
that-
want to call them.
do you want to task the subcommittee with making recommendations on the awards and then come back next meeting?
Yeah,
Is that-
I think that would be good.
Yeah.
Reviewing them and just coming back with which ones are gonna be public voting, and then, you know, which ones we're gonna choose. Karen?
Yeah, Karen, I
Well,
will ask you.
I guess I'm thinking about the, consistent versus more random, right? And I feel like some should be consistent. If we're gonna have a Civic Pride Award every year and a Hall of Fame Award every year, but also sometimes I could see the flip, that there's a business in town and we wanna celebrate them and not trying to say, well, can we squeeze them into this award? I mean, I feel like the idea is to celebrate these businesses, not necessarily caring about what the award is, but it's like, hey, we're so happy you're here and here's the award we're giving you for being here. So I could see it
Yeah.
a little bit. I mean, I don't want to just randomly tack on awards, but I feel like sometimes it's driven by the businesses that have shown up and what we think they're doing. So
That's driven like the Foodies Award. We've oscillated on, if we have a lot of restaurants that have opened recently, that's
Yeah.
kind of opened that award. So, yes.
So we'll
Sorry.
come together, we'll meet and, take all this into consideration and then I guess come back with some
Yeah.
recommendations.
I think that'd be a great idea. Karen, just before I get, Christie said she could be helpful on the lieutenant governor too.
Oh, great.
So you could reach out to her for that.
Yep. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna leave it to the subcommittee. You guys will come back with a report, with this recommendation for the listing of awards. Keynote speaker, we'll try to get that, at least somewhat nailed down, and then from there, we'll discuss the event venue. Everyone sound good? Perfect?
Great.
Okay. Reviewing the 2025 meeting dates, does the first Tuesday of the month still work for everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if we, my apologies, I don't know if we checked to see if there's any conflicts
Yeah,
with
I'm
any
gonna look at that
holidays.
too, so,
I did check.
okay, thank you.
There are none.
Perfect. That could be a first.
Yeah, because the first Tuesday in January is January 7th, so we're good. So, awesome. So we'll stick with the first Tuesdays of the month, okay? 8 o'clock. Perfect. All right. We do have an opening for the EDC committee. I know, Laura, you and I have talked a little bit about that and that process. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Me personally, I guess the only thing that I would say is that there are more than one candidate. There is more than one candidate now. And how the select board decides that, I don't know. But I think one of the things that was in my mind was, do you guys give recommendations to the select board, or how has that worked in the past? And have you had this, have you had this problem before, this good problem before or not? So those are just some questions that I think I want to just throw out and hear your thoughts on this. What do you want to do in terms of adding another member? Is it possible for you to talk with them, meet with them, recommend them? I don't know.
What are the bylaws, Fred? Because I know that usually it's just like we suddenly will have a committee member here.
Well, so in the past, certainly the appointment's always up to in the discretion of the select board. We have, in the past, when there's been multiple candidates, had them address this board, and the board can pass on a recommendation to the select board. Certainly that, I think, is acceptable, but it's ultimately up to the select board to make the final decision.
Right. So if we have multiple candidates, my recommendation would be for them to meet with us, as a committee, just so we can have an idea of who's joining the committee.
They kind of look to Mr. Kehoe to
Yeah.
comment on that.
I think that's fine. I think so. They would come before next month's meeting. So then we would just ask that the select board hold off until after that meeting to make it an appointment.
Yes. So
Okay.
yes, that would be. What are your thoughts?
Is it possible to know the candidates ahead of time?
I spoke with one yesterday. I read another person's application. I didn't speak with that person in particular. And then I think that there was a third that some folks are trying to reach out to see if they would be interested. Do you know anything more about the candidates? Do you know anything?
I don't know anything about them yet.
Okay.
I think, it would make sense for their applications to be distributed
Yeah.
to this,
Yeah.
to this committee
I just
before
wasn't
the
sure what the
meeting.
bylaws, I didn't know what the rules were, if that was.
Can
I'd have to check with Christie. I don't know if there's anything against that, but I'll have to verify that.
Okay.
Can I ask if, without identifying the names at this moment, what the background is? Are we looking at manufacturing? Are we looking at one of the top real estate developers, someone from that company? I'm just
Yeah, so
curious.
far they're, the first one is a CPA.
Okay.
And the second one the one that I spoke to, actually doesn't even have, well, he works from home. His business is an import-export business. But he lives here in Westborough.
Okay.
Yeah, I know the select board has a final say, but I know in the past, sometimes we've come back after the summer and there have been a slate of a few new folks and we've never gotten to meet or anything, and I just would like the opportunity to do that.
If we have multiple.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are there also openings for ambassadors?
There's always openings
Yes.
for ambassadors, yeah.
So
So we
that's an
are,
option for anybody.
right, for anyone that
And
doesn't.
yeah.
And that's actually really the best way to go, is to be an ambassador and then, join the committee. So that would, once we get your committee up and running the way that we want to.
So, sorry.
Go ahead.
What we do on the cultural council is the applicants need to come to a meeting first, just to see what it's about and make sure that they know what they're getting into and things like that. So I think if they apply and then can present or give us a little bit of feedback, and tell us a little bit about themselves, I think that would be really helpful to see how we're running things and see what they think.
Okay, so I can work to distribute their applications, call them, invite them to the December meeting, ask them to prepare a little presentation for y'all, and yeah.
And then they'll go in
And
front
then
of the
you
select
guys-
board, we'll make a
And tell the select
recommendation.
board
Yeah.
that we'll have a decision after December
Or
3rd.
just a recommendation, again, it's going to be
Yeah,
a
it's
select
just
board
a-
decision.
I misspoke.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. And I would say the presentation, just ask him to keep it to 2 or 3 minutes. Like, give him a specific time frame.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't need the whole.
Yeah, we don't need to know.
Awesome.
Sorry, and would we get their resume or their application or whatever ahead of time?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I can distribute that.
And, sorry, before, well, Jenny's going, but Laura, just want to make sure you speak into the mic when you're talking. I don't want to miss you. Yeah,
Pardon me.
great.
Awesome, thank you. All right, any further discussion on any of those things? We're good to, all right. Jenny, you are up.
So the first thing I'll mention is that I'm very excited to announce that we did receive the grant for the next phase of the downtown plan. Yeah, I'm very excited. It's $372,000, and in addition to that, we also have a $15,000 match from the Grossmans at Bay State Commons. So that will involve just taking a deeper dive into the transportation aspect of downtown, looking at the sidewalk network, safer pedestrian connections, things like that. And then the end result will be a preliminary design. We also call it a 25% design, if you hear that. But I'm trying not to use too much planner and engineer lingo. So that's very exciting. We will be meeting with the engineering firm that we're hiring later this month to kind of kick it off. And then one of the big things I want to make sure that we focus on is outreach to the businesses in the area, because I want to make sure that they're involved in the plan. We did the conceptual plan before, but there's nothing worse when we actually start construction of something and businesses didn't know about it, or they feel like they didn't have any input. So I'll be working with Laura and this committee also to make sure that we have that really enhanced public outreach and meetings and gathering all of that input.
Yeah, and that's a great thing for the ambassadors as well, to help us to do some of that outreach too, so.
Yeah.
And Jenny, also like the owners of the buildings
Yep.
as well, yeah. For folks
Yeah,
that-
absolutely, and just making sure everyone's aware. Last time with the downtown plan, we did a lot of outreach. We sent out invitations to people to attend the public meetings. But I think, we still could do better. So hopefully we can do that this time. Then the other thing, so Planning Board has an application for 210 Turnpike Road, which is proposed to be a Starbucks. That's at the corner of Park Street and Turnpike Road. So they are on the Planning Board agenda for a special permit for a drive-through coffee shop, and then also a site plan review. We, in planning, are also working with WRTA, our regional transit authority, to do a transportation study of Shrewsbury, Northborough, and Westborough, essentially evaluating our transportation needs in Westborough. We had a meeting that did involve economic development. Kristen, our assistant town planner, has really been heading this project. And one thing that I'll mention that I think we'll be working with Laura on is the feasibility of a transportation demand management program. That's just something that they mentioned could be a possibility. So we're looking into possibly surveying some of the businesses, but we'll be working with Laura on that.
Hey, Jenny, so Park Street is the one where it's right where Penta
Yes, it's across the road
Communications
from,
is.
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
It's right on that corner.
There's a
Gotcha.
dentist office
Yeah,
there.
that's a tricky spot to get off and on the Pike. Pardon me, off and on Route 9.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's also the B-wall is proposed to come around there, so we'll be eventually making some improvements.
Terrific. Thank you.
When is the study for the transportation, the WRTA, when is that kind of wrapping up, and what does that timeline look like for that study?
They want it to be done by the end of the year. That's their projection. There will be another public information meeting. I can't remember the dates. Kristen, do you?
It's the 21st,
Okay.
from 7 to 9:30, and it's a virtual meeting. So we'll, as soon as we get that notification from them, we'll send it to all of the different committees and groups.
November?
November.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. So they're looking at. We currently have VIA, which I'm sure you all are familiar with, as our micro transit option, but they're looking at other options as well.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to their recommendations.
So you think this will supplement VIA or replace it, or?
So the contract with VIA is up at the end of the fiscal year, so they'll be renewing the contract, or they'll be really putting it out to bid again. But they need to understand what our needs are. They think that we'll still be looking at some form of microtransit, but more than what we have now.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right, nice, thank you. Anyway, any other questions for Jenny? No? Awesome, great. All right, so Laura, you are up.
Yeah, thank you. So I did prepare some slides. I'm wondering if perhaps what I could do is share my screen. Do I want to use audio and video? I think so. I guess I need video, right?
Well, let me jump in there if I could. So Lara's done, in her short tenure already, she's done a great job of starting to think about certainly outside the box. So unfortunately, she's not going to be able to present some of her ideas today, but I think we can regroup a little bit next month. One of those, that she's looking at a business letter or a newsletter on behalf of the EDC. So that's, oh, I'm sorry.
Although everyone can't see my presentation, I think I can still muddle through it, and then I can send you the slides afterwards. So from a technical standpoint, I've updated the website changed some names, got some new news in there, tried to freshen it up a little bit. And we have put the business assistance grant permitting online through Permit Pro. And I was going to be able to show you how that was done, but I can't. But you would, you can get to it from both our EDC website page, and you can get to it from Permit Pro. You would go to Permit Pro and then scroll down to Economic Development, and you would open that application. So that there's some, I think, some positives there. One, we can just really keep track of everyone's, nothing can get lost because it's sort of electronic. As well as at the end of the year, we can really have probably more robust reporting on things. We do need to have your help, I need your help, and the ambassador's help in promoting the grants. You have $60,000 a year. You are, I think, at around 42,000, something along those lines, roughly from March. It's hard to tell. There's always these weird dates, but you roughly at about 42,000 that you've spent. I am definitely talking with businesses and encouraging them to apply. I've also started tracking one-stop meeting businesses as well. So from a technical standpoint, I'm just trying to get the ship readied, if you will. Do you have a question?
No.
No, okay. So let me go to the next slide. All right, branding and wayfinding project. All familiar with that? We had a kickoff with Jenny, Fred, and I, and 2 staff members of Beta Group. They were the consultant awarded. We had the kickoff on October 31st. And the project is expected to be roughly about 4 to 5 months. The objective is to create a cohesive brand identity for the town through signage. And the first steps will include needs assessment and community engagement. So put on your calendars, save the date for December 2nd. So that's before our next EDC meeting. What we've decided, but it's after Thanksgiving and before all the December hubbub. So what we hope to do is have a 4 o'clock meeting with internal stakeholders, both this side of the building, all buildings, town people, and anyone else is invited to that one, I think, but mostly it'll be more internal stakeholders, and then we'll have external public meeting at 6 p.m. So the hope is and we will be promoting this month to get a robust business involvement.
So if this committee members can't make the 4 o'clock, we encourage you to make the 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we kind of double dipped on that in case you can't make one.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
That's, the select board would be the same type of invitation.
Okay, so Main Street trick or treat.
I'm sorry, Lara.
yeah, sorry.
Sorry to keep interrupting you.
No, that's okay.
The other thing we're looking at, hopefully, we're looking into as part of this too, is the signage downtown. So part of this also goes to the downtown plan to kind of redevelop that. We do have some small amount of money in another earmark to look at signage for downtown specifically. So we're hoping to tie the branding, wayfinding, the downtown plan together and look at rewriting just the bylaw for that. So we hope to kind of incorporate that too. Sorry.
That's okay, no, of course. Any questions? There'll be more, we can
Right.
definitely talk more about this, and we will. And hopefully, I've already had other folks call me, when's the meetings? We want to be involved, so I know people are anxious for this. And I think it'll be, I'm really excited for it, because I think improvement-wise, it'll be great. So my first sort of foray when I started was hey, we have this big trick or treat. And so, and pardon this phrase, but I use the excuse of the trick or treat to walk the streets, as I say. But I got a chance, I walked in, I met Elise, I just walked into businesses around downtown, knocked on their door, hello, how are you, get to know them a little bit. So these kinds of community engagements, I hope to continue. I know everyone had a lot of fun at Trick or Treat. It isn't so much like a driver of business per se, it's just more of a community event. But I hope to build on it to create greater relationships with not just businesses in downtown, but throughout the area. But I think downtown's easier to sort of knock on their door and say hello. If I walk into Amazon Robotics, I'm not sure they'd let me through the front door. So which brings me to holiday passport and stroll introduction. Where do I start with this? I need your feedback. I'm gonna pass around. Sandy asked me to poll a few businesses on some ideas of how business participation could work. The tree lighting ceremony feels very community oriented. It's a Sunday night. It's the day after Small Business Saturday. And it didn't feel so much like how do we get businesses involved so much as how do we share in sort of the holiday spirit of local small business. So 3 ideas have come up. One is just, and this is when I worked with, we had a meeting with the Rotary Club, who really runs this program with also the rec department. So there's a parade that happens at 5 o'clock, and then tree lighting. So on a Sunday, December 1st. So what I'm suggesting is for downtown businesses to decorate their windows. Just have fun, make sure that the scene is festive for the December 1st event. And really nothing more. If they'd like to participate in the parade, even better. I'd love to see Landry's riding their bikes or something with lights on the wheels and stuff during the parade. That would be really cool. But I think business participation on that night is very limited. So the other idea is to resurrect the passport program for the month of December. So the passport program was business participation. We have a map. We can promote the businesses. It can be everywhere throughout Westborough. And they all have stamps or stickers, and so I'm the customer, and I go in and I buy something, and you're participating, and you stamp. And at the end, I get my 10 stamps if I've bought at 10 stores, and I put it in a box for a raffle. It's really pretty simple. I mean, we don't have a lot of time. If we were starting this in August, I would feel we could maybe do a lot more stuff, but I think for the short period of time, the town would really just be promoting local business, shop local business throughout the month of December. Businesses would participate, and we'd have to have a few businesses who would, give a gift box or, something for raffles. And I don't know how many we'd have, but that's how many raffles we could pull, right? But again, the idea is really just local shopping, support local businesses. So those are my ideas. Nothing really robust this year. You can throw tomatoes at me if you prefer, but
Well, talk about
yeah.
why the passports? How many cards do we have?
There's a trillion cards left, and so I hate to have things just sit in my drawer and not be used.
They're not labeled 2023.
It was one of the LRP.
Right, no, I know, but they
I don't
weren't
think it had a
labeled.
date on it. It was
Okay.
just generic.
There's no dates,
Yeah.
right?
Right,
There's no
good.
It's not
dates.
dated to a
Yeah,
particular.
and I mean,
year.
the bones are there. Like, I don't think it'll be too hard to. we
Right,
can
it's
help you
kind
with
of an
it.
easy
Yes.
lift, and it's really just a promotion of, hey, let's shop
Yep,
local.
yeah.
I would need the help from
Yeah.
you guys on some raffles, but I think, and, you know, I could distribute the cards, or we could do it through ambassadors, or, you know, I'm not really sure, but that's kind of what a little bit of feedback from you guys on that. Is there anyone who has any thoughts? Feedback, tomatoes?
Well, regarding the stroll component, so is that's an hour and a half, is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's 5 to 6:30, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken.
Is there any downside to starting it a little earlier and perhaps trying to incorporate people down on Lyman Street and so forth? I had a couple people contact me who are interested.
Yeah, I don't
in that.
organize that at
It's
all.
the
How
rec
does that,
department.
the road,
No, it's the
Rec
rec
department.
department, yeah.
oh, the rec
Yeah.
department, okay. Okay.
Yep.
All right, I'll reach out to them then, thank you.
I think currently, does it start at, up near doesn't quite go all the way to the high school and then comes down from there?
Yeah, it's pretty short, it's
Yeah,
pretty.
the parade, but the stroll is a little bit looser, I think, just in terms of wandering around and so forth, so.
Yeah, I know that there's some businesses who will, who's like gonna set up some hot chocolate or things like that. Like I thought you could put up a table, but if it's anything like Halloween, there is no room on sidewalks really, you know, to
Right,
do
right.
this. So again, you know, I would love to have business participate. I'm not sure. It feels like a hard lift, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
No, it's hard.
historically, it's been really hard to get people, having people open their businesses. So I loved the idea of the decorating the windows and just being,
Yeah.
you know, just kind of being a festive kind of day.
But in the past, they've tried to integrate like what's going on down on Lyman Street and
With
you know,
buses, right?
like buses.
Right.
Tatnick has always had a nice turnout. They were always pleasantly surprised how well that went. And then also I was speaking to the folks at Salmon Health, and they said they could probably incorporate their own bus shuttle service or something like that. So there are ways to do it. I just don't think 90 minutes, and I know it's not your purview, but 90 minutes might not allow enough time to go down, do something, come back and wander, you know?
Right, yeah, exactly. I think that in the past, what they've done is they've incorporated the daytime shopping
Yes.
time
Yes.
into this.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to clarify.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I don't have the wherewithal to get a bus, or
Yeah.
we don't, I think we had funding in the past, we don't this year. So that's why I didn't know that someone was offering a bus, I mean.
Well, I
but-
mean, I had a casual conversation with the GM down there, and then also in the past, I've spoken to the folks at Westborough Shopping Center, and they're eager to do something to help draw, the attention down that way too. So-
Right, so that's why I thought this passport for the entire month.
Oh, yeah,
right,
yeah, no,
would
that's a
be
good idea,
would sort
yeah.
of would supplement,
Sure.
a Sunday afternoon.
Sure.
So I don't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, okay.
That's what I'm hoping, right? Like,
Yeah, no, you're in a tough spot. I mean, there's a lot to do in a short time, absolutely.
okay,
Yeah.
thoughts?
How many businesses are on the passport right now?
What do you
It's,
mean?
it's not,
It's
it's
just a
whoever
little
wants to
tiny business
participate.
card.
Right.
With
Okay.
10 numbers,
Right.
and then you put a sticker on each
So
one.
you promote the businesses that are part of it, or any business is part of it? I guess I'm
Any
asking.
business that wants to be part of it
Okay.
can be.
Yeah, and I would,
Does that
similar
mean
to
that
the.
somebody goes in and buys something, or just visit?
No, I
Yes.
don't think they actually have to purchase.
No, they-
We can
they
talk
did in the
about that, but
past.
generally
They
it's,
had to.
they visit the store and get the stamp.
Purchase something.
You have to purchase
Yeah.
something. That's what
It can be a
passport
$5, at least this is how we've done it in the past.
No.
It
Yeah,
can
I
be a
would think-
$5 item, but
I mean,
we
if
did
somebody
something
begs
similar,
you,
so-
I love your store, but I can't afford, I don't know, maybe you'd,
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
yeah.
but like I could see, that way, if you go to a restaurant, or you're going to a store, or, I don't know, you buy a car, you could get stamped.
Right.
And that way you could have, it could really incorporate, I mean, even if Roach Brothers wanted to do it, right? I mean, the more the merrier in terms of shopping.
And awareness. It really is just about building awareness. So not
Right.
necessarily, it's not a big business driver, it's a business awareness. What's the diversity of businesses in our town? We've got the Crystal Place, right, and Route 9. We've got all kinds of different
Yeah.
restaurants and things like that. So I think it would behoove us and the ambassador committee to be able to go out and say, hey, do you want to be on the map? Right, and have them be on the map and make sure that gets out onto the website and things like that. So
Yeah.
Again, it's
Facebook,
just
things
driving awareness.
No, I agree with the philosophy of just getting people exposed to
Yeah.
what's going on in Westborough. And I have to say that, we're downtown, and the traffic from the trick or treat thing was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we gave away 500 pieces of candy in just a little over an hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
I had almost 150 people, and I can't imagine, and I'm off the beaten path.
Yeah, it was just, it was steady. And when we ran out of candy, they were building. It was like, it was nuts.
Okay, so we're okay with Passport
Yeah, I think it's
Who's
great.
your point person at Rec?
at Rec?
Yeah, Rec.
Jenny?
Jen Kirkland.
Jen Kirkland.
Jen Kirkland, the Recreation Director.
Thank you.
Yeah, she was involved with that, and Shelby Marshall is the Select Board. I'm not exactly sure, I think she represents
Rotary.
Rotary, but she happens to be a Select Board member too, but,
Yeah.
I think you
I'm
can
meeting
reach
with her
out.
right after this, so.
well, then you can bring it up to Shelby, I think that would be a great question for her. She can follow up with Jen too, or you can, either way.
Great, thank you.
Laura, you did a great job on all these initiatives, really good.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Probably, she forgot about the newsletter, but she can't.
No, I'm not there
Okay,
yet.
sorry. I don't want to forget that newsletter.
Hold on, so I just want to run through a few, I don't know what time it is.
You're
Run
good.
through
You
a
have
few
time.
businesses.
You've got plenty of time.
Right.
All right, so new businesses, and some that I've actually met with. Barbara Ackman Jewelry Store. This is a husband and wife. They were out of they were out of Worcester. He does the designs and she runs the business. They've just opened at 276 Turnpike, right where the Crystal store
right.
is. They're taking the upstairs. They should be open right before Thanksgiving or right around Thanksgiving. So that would be more like you have a design, you have somebody, he draws it out and he puts it to jewelry. And then thanks to the chamber, we went to Body by Benson Pilates Studio. Young woman also from Worcester, lovely family who came also to join her. If you're into Pilates, go and check her out. She's at 77?
No.
57
Yep,
East
correct.
Main Street. 77 East Main Street, I think.
No, 57.
57,
Sounded
excuse me.
about
It's
right.
Okay.
57, yeah.
Dart's Barber Shop, 164 Milk Street. She's waiting on, through the state, the sort of the licensing for being, being a hairdresser. She's just waiting on that. She also has another location, so second location now in Westborough. Opening soon is a Chase Bank, 303 Turnpike Road. Have not met with them yet. Boston Lawnmower is currently operating on Turnpike Road and moving to 2 Bridle Lane. Seed to Stem, 26 South Street, just opened. If you haven't been there, the store looks amazing. And Zemra Salon, just opened, 290 Turnpike Road. And I would like to say also, just as a reminder, for November 12th, that Community Advocate has a ribbon cutting on their 50th anniversary on, November 12th. So I think that's next
Thank you.
Tuesday.
Yes,
Yes.
it's Tuesday night, 5 to 7 at
Yeah.
Cold Harbor Brewery, yeah.
Correct.
We're moving it to Cold Harbor Brewery.
Oh.
He's gonna have he's having a celebration.
Okay, great.
You're all
So,
invited.
Congratulations.
Our property doesn't really lend itself to.
For a good crowd.
I have it on our, so that was the other thing is I've started putting events on our website, so
Thank you.
I'll update that address. But yeah, and we continue to talk with new businesses and cultivating, I'm working on cultivating relationships with existing businesses. So finally, my future plans. The EDC newsletter. This is a draft. I would like to start a newsletter for you guys and, promote the new businesses in town or other kinds of like zoning or planning stuff. Also really would like to integrate sustainability efforts into the newsletter as well. So really it's to go out to the businesses, here's what's new, here's what's going on. news from the EDC. I just sort of threw in a few things there. I don't even think it's printed right, but if you like the idea, you know, I don't need much encouragement. So I'm happy to work with Sandy some more on that. So I also think that our meetings, your meetings, once a month, great, but maybe we could organize it better so that you know what's gonna come up. So like, for instance, the first meeting of the quarter would be when the business grant awards are talked about, discussed. Maybe the second meeting of the quarter might be something about like where we concentrate more on real estate and development stuff. And then, you know, downtown planning or something like that, or you know, other kinds of events, so forth, going the third month of the quarter. So just like trying to get some cadence going, and also sort of encourages sort of in between work, right? So you know when some, you know, subcommittees or ambassadors or something, they know when they'll be asked to, you know, report on something. So I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I love people that are organized like that. That's amazing.
I think that's
Yeah,
fabulous.
Great.
Okay, great.
That'll help
Thank
a
you. Sandy and I have talked about this, and we have only not started on it because we wanted to really work on the awards breakfast first and get through the holiday seasons and stuff. But the ambassador program, make it more robust, really define it, pull together, cultivate, have opportunities, and, you know, really know what's going to be what we can work on together, and also get more ambassadors, right?
And to find out what you know, why you joined the committee, like what your goals are in joining the committee, what ideas you have for the businesses, because you guys are the ones that are out there, you know, in much different capacities than we are. So we really are looking towards, you know, creating a larger committee and just getting you guys out there a little bit more.
Yeah, so this is January for us, right? We'll start in January. Okay, so some other ideas, because I'm full of them, is the next thing I'd really like to do is bring together real estate and developers together to update on some new zoning, the highway zoning, the downtown zoning, make sure they're aware of, you know, the 25% plans, make sure that they're, you know, understanding where the town would like to see development go, right? And I think also, selfishly, I would like to know what deals they're working on, right? What businesses they're talking to. See how we can get in front of maybe, you know, solving any problems or being there for that business. And then I really would like to create a pipeline of more economic development opportunities. Some ideas to explore would be the film industry. I think taking advantage of your agriculture here is super important. And I'm starting to really try to figure out what industries are here, where your strengths in industries lie, and how we can build on those clusters. So those are some of my ideas that I have.
Laura, can you talk a little bit about the sustainable Westborough? So your sustainability, can you talk a little bit about like where your passion lies there, as, you know, as we're thinking about new businesses coming in and out there promoting Westborough? So what is your feeling about the partnership?
Yeah, so I think that it's a twofold. There's the industry side. What kind of industries could we attract, or what kind of cluster can we build in terms of maybe renewable energy or you know, sustainable business building practices or other things like that, like what industries we could bring in. But then there is that every single one of us now has to really, I believe, really start thinking about being a better steward to the earth, right? And businesses are themselves also, you know, needs to be thought about, thinking about that. How do they make themselves more sustainable? life sciences, or if you're putting together drugs, right? Where are your raw materials coming from? Are they still going to be able to be grown, right? In whatever part of the world it floods or drought or whatever. These things are, I think, risks that businesses have, and they're not necessarily really looking at them from a climate change standpoint. So how do we integrate those skills or techniques, or, how do we integrate that into current business? But also, how do we promote, climate-friendly businesses to start coming in, right? So that's even the agriculture is right in there with me, because I really believe Massachusetts is going to have to start growing its own food again. I think that'll become more and more necessary as we start. I don't know, as the world burns.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Any other questions?
Yeah. So then, any questions or more?
Street chatter? Tell me about
ask
that.
about
Yeah.
Sorry?
The sign that says grand opening soon, business called Street Chatter, where Yummy Mummy used to be.
It's
Street
the
Chat.
former Bagel Bistro.
Yeah,
They have a big dinner up there.
just
pretty
didn't know if they
soon.
were,
Fred.
Yeah, it's at 72 East Main Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about that business.
okay.
And then the big Y going in, there's a sign for the big Y going in.
Well, so that I do know a little bit about, well, sort of. So that, somebody had asked me about that, actually, Maureen, from the Community Advocate. There was an agreement from a previous market that was supposed to go there. It was never really announced. But I don't know how exactly the business model went, if they subleased it or if RK Centers subleased it. But Big Y had announced probably 6 months or a year ago that they were coming there. I don't know enough about their business model. It's different than their typical Big Y. Their other Big Ys are massive, and they're more like the old Stop and Shop that was there. This one is smaller in shape, so I believe we have a building permit on it.
There's a sign that says big Y coming soon.
Yeah, they've announced that they were coming to that, as I said, 6 months or a year ago. They
Yeah.
just hadn't publicized it too much, but it's not like a top secret. So I don't know what the actual fit-up looks like. You probably could find it online, actually, and on Permit Pro, but
Is it next to Ashley Furniture?
Yeah.
yes, it is. They had taken the Stop and Shop and divided it. It was like 2/3, 1/3. So they had, the previous tenant had anticipated a fit up, so they had ripped out the floor. So that has to be done, and I don't even know if they've actually started construction yet.
Have they
So-
taken the 2/3 and the 1/3? or
No, Ashley Furniture's had signed a lease. They're there for a while, as far as I know. So the intent was just to move into that space that was about 2/3 of Stop and Shop. So I'm not exactly sure what their marketing campaign is on this particular size. They actually took over a few of these throughout the state, is my understanding. It was where the other marketplace was gonna go. They kind of took those over in the other parts of the state. I don't know if any of that answers your question, but.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention, because I was running around this morning, but I picked up 2 shakes, and there are some cups in the back from Westborough Nutrition that I wanted to just share. I thought it would be nice if we brought some things into the meetings just as a way to promote businesses around town. So they're sitting in the back. Please help yourself. There's some straws and smaller cups, and one's a chocolate strawberry and the other one is a muffin something, oatmeal muffin something.
We're gonna like you.
Yeah.
A big line of people trying to get on the EDC.
Yeah, I know, right?
But
for free product.
and thank you to Westborough Nutrition for helping us out this morning.
Thank you. Is there any new business for anybody? Anyone?
I want to circle back on just a couple of things. So in inviting the Lieutenant Governor to speak, we focused on March or April. What kind of date on a Friday? To invite her, I need to kind of know what direction we want to do that. Happy to work with Christy on that. So I just kind of before, because if we want to get started, we need to get started on that.
Typically Friday mornings, right?
Yeah,
typically
we've
Friday morning.
historically done it
Yeah.
Friday morning. I don't know that we've ever actually deviated from that. It seems to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Does she get 20 minutes, 30 minutes to speak?
Sure. 20 minutes would probably be a long.
Because 20 will mean a little longer.
Yeah,
Well,
20.
I mean, I've heard her speak a couple times. I think she's, you know, a good speaker, so
Good.
I mean, I would shoot for 15 or 20 minutes, I would think.
I think you give 20 minutes usually.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
usually do 8 to 9:30, I forget.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, we can, the committee, the working group can look at
Yeah.
kind of working around their schedule.
So usually when you work with them, like, sometimes they want to come up to speak first, which I
Right.
know you're flexible about.
Yeah.
that.
Right,
We can
absolutely.
always see the program.
Typically, they're outside the introduction from Sandy or something, that you'd have them speak, especially if their schedule warrants that they can't stay for the whole meeting
Fine.
and whatnot.
And the other thing I wanted to mention is, in the spirit of ribbon cuttings, we have Wayback Burger this Wednesday night.
Oh, great.
So I hope you're available to join for that. So we actually have 3 for Westborough and Rhythm Medical. You're on the, you all get the invites, but obviously, we were gonna contact anybody that registered for his already to the new location at Cold Harbor, but, yeah, so Wayback Burgers, we hope you'll join us for that on Wednesday. That is at 5:30. And I believe they're making a donation to a charity, which is nice.
great.
So, yep.
Awesome.
Oh, they might have already done it, but I think they were gonna do it at the ribbon cutting, so.
Great, thank you. Karen, did you?
Well, just, you had asked March or April.
Yep.
Do we think it matters whether it's March or April? The only reason it
I like
matters.
April.
It matters to you?
The only reason it matters for us, it's not a timing thing in terms of getting the videos done. We'll get the videos done when they need to be done. But sometimes we do drone shots that just kind of give people a little context as to where the building is. And if we're doing those in February into March, usually kind of bleak. So if
Okay.
you get to April, sometimes the trees have sprung and it makes for a better video. It's a little thing, but if
Okay.
there's nothing else pushing us one direction or another, it just makes for a nicer piece.
When was it last year?
The 26th, Friday,
April.
April 26th.
April.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it was April. Okay.
Yeah, you want to avoid the Patriots Day week, I would
Yeah.
assume.
Yes.
You wanna
Any
kinda
school
stay-
vacation week.
Right,
Yes.
that's school vacation, you want to
Yeah.
avoid that, I would think.
I think the end of April is a good time to shoot for, like that last, you can start there at least.
All right, so we'll get an update from you guys at our next meeting. If you need anything else in between then, just reach out. We'll get the applications for the EDC committee applicants prior to our meeting next month. We'll meet with them. Ambassadors, hang tight because we are going to reorganize in January. And the holiday stroll, the holiday passport, Laura, just reach out to us and let us know what you need there for that. And because we are, we're in November right now, so we want to be talking to businesses sooner rather than later. And I think that's it. Does anyone
Can
else
I
have
ask for
anything
the
else?
subcommittee? I thank you, Laura, for the grids of the awards and all that. Does anybody have the actual list of winners over the last years?
Yeah, I think it's on that same list, we can
The
try to
company,
dig
the
that
actual
out.
companies that won what awards? It's
Yeah.
helpful as a
Yeah,
committee
we
too.
have that.
Yeah,
out
yeah,
there.
Do you have that? Okay.
I believe that went out.
I
Yeah.
want to say
We
we
did?
had,
A while ago.
these like,
Not recently.
Right,
Yeah.
it says it in the back,
Yeah.
in
But
that booklet.
Laura, do you have it in an Excel list of the winners from year to year to year to year? Or, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
No, this is fine, yeah.
These are your only copies? Because I'll make a,
Sort of.
I can make a, well, I can.
Yeah.
you can
Those
make a
are on our
copy and send them to me.
archives,
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, will you share that? Yeah.
If we may not have them all, but we have many of the
Yeah.
previous award winners.
Great, awesome. A motion,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, meeting
Thanks,
is
everyone.
adjourned. We'll see
help
everybody
yourself to the shakes.
December 3rd.
What works for you guys?